Okay, morning everyone. Today we're going to start straight line graphs. Now, if you're taking the higher tier, this is going to be quite a long task. Okay, it's not going to be a long video because I'm going to split it into lots of videos. If you're doing the foundation, it's going to be quite a big task, but not as big. Okay. But first of all, this is in higher and the foundation. We are going to talk about the graphs that we need to be able to recognise. Okay. So we are only talking about straight lines here. Don't forget, when you have an axis, you have a y-axis and an x-axis. If you're ever drawing the axes from scratch, you must always put the arrows on, okay, and call them y, put the arrow on and call it x, okay. You must label your axes x and y. Okay, so I've got a few graphs down here that we're going to just draw, and you need to be able to recognise, okay. So the first graph is the graph with the equation y equals x, okay. Now what that means is every x coordinate equals every y coordinate. So if x is 1, y is 1, so that would be there. If x is 2, y is 2, that would be there, okay. So what that then is a straight line, which I don't have a ruler, but I shall draw with a straight line, is a straight line through 0, 0, y equals x, okay. So this point here would be the coordinates 1, 1. This point here, for example, would be the coordinates 8, 8. This coordinate here might be -7, -7, okay? So your x and y coordinates, so we're going -7 along, -7 down here, okay? All of your coordinates would be the same. That is the line y equals x, okay? Right, then we're going to look at the line y equals -x. Now y equals -x is exactly the same, except for it's going in the opposite direction, okay? But it's the same gradient, it's the same steepness. It is going in this direction. Hopefully that looks the same steepness. Okay, so here you'd have an x coordinate of a -2, for example, and the y coordinate of +2. So one would be positive, one would be negative. We look here, that would be 2, -2. Okay, all right, up here we'd have, I don't know, -6, 6, for example. Okay, I mean, these are badly drawn because obviously they're in the wrong place. Maybe I'll make that 8. Then it doesn't look as bad. Okay? So one's positive, one's negative. That is the line y equals -x. Now, both of those graphs you need to be able to recognise. Okay? Right, the next ones are where you've got x equals and y equals. So here we've got x equals 2. All right? Now, if we're thinking about x equals 2, we're looking at our x-axis and we're finding the point where x is 2, which is there. Now what this line means is that every point on that line has the x coordinate of 2. So this line is going to be this vertical line, x equals 2. That is the line x equals 2. It's a vertical line, okay? Most people get confused and think that this line, because it's x equals, is going to be horizontal, okay? But it's not, it's vertical. All right? Okay, then we've got our next line is y equals 5. Okay, y equals 5. So what you're going to do is you find 5 on your y-axis, and then it is the horizontal line through y equals 5. Okay, because at every point on that line, mine's not very straight, at every point on that line, the y coordinate is 5. Okay, the next one, x equals -1. So again, you find where -1 is on your x-axis, and it's this vertical line. At every point on that line, x equals -1. All right? And then the last one I asked us to do was y equals -4. So you find where y is -4. So here's my y-axis, here's -4, and it's the vertical line, the horizontal line, sorry. Okay? So if it's a y equals line, it's horizontal, and if it's an x equals line, it's vertical. Okay, right, now the other thing you'll be asked to do, now this is much easier if I had a grid, but I don't have a grid, so we'll just roll with it, okay, is if you are asked to draw the graph of y equals 2x plus 1. Now this could come up in foundation or higher, and it varies in difficulty, okay. Sometimes they'll always give you squares, okay, so you won't have to draw it freehand like I'm about to. They'll sometimes give you the axes. They sometimes won't. They'll sometimes give you a little table. They sometimes won't. So what we're going to do is do it straight from scratch, and then hopefully you'll understand how to do it. Okay, so if it asks you to draw this graph, to plot this graph, plot the straight line, it's going to be a straight line, okay? If it's y equals something x plus something else, it's always going to be a straight line. If it had an x squared in it or an x cubed, it wouldn't be a straight line, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make a table of values. So we're going to make a table for x and corresponding y values. Now, sometimes they'll give you x values they want you to put in, but if they don't, I would always go from -2 up to 2. Okay, if they ask you to do specific values, then do those specific values. But if not, go from -2 to 2 because that gives you a fairly good idea of what's happening. Okay, I would also start at this end because it's much easier to work with positives than it is to work with negatives. Okay, so here we've got that y equals 2x plus 1. So to find what y is, we're going to do 2 times whatever x is plus 1. So here x is 2, so I'm going to do 2 times 2 plus 1. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Then I'm going to do 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 1 makes 3. 2 times 0, which is 0, plus 1 makes 1. 2 times -1 is -2, plus 1 is -1. And 2 times -2 is -4, plus 1 is -3. Okay? Right, then you would have a nice square grid, okay, that you would draw your axes on. So we're going to draw our axes. Here's my y-axis, which I'm labelling y. You've got to label it y every time. And here's my x-axis, which I'm labelling x. Okay? Our x-axis has to go from -2 to 2, because that is what we have plotted on it. Okay, I'm not sure that's very straight, but there we go. Our y-axis has to go all the way up to 5, and all the way down to -3, at least, okay, but you can go a bit further. We're then going to plot them, okay, so we've got -2 is our x, so we go -2 along, -3 down. We're going -1 along, -1 down. We're going 0 along, 1 up. We're going 1 along, 3 up. And we're going 2 along, 5 up. Now, obviously when you have squares, it makes it much easier, okay, because I'm just guessing where mine are. Once you've plotted the points, at the moment we've got 2 marks. You get 1 for this, 1 for the points, and for the third mark you get for joining up your points in a straight line. Okay, they should be in a nice straight line. Mine obviously aren't because I haven't got a grid, but it comes into a nice straight line. Okay, you should also extend your line further than the points you have been given, okay, with a ruler. You must do it with a ruler. That is plotting a straight line graph.